Kasia, hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, Basha.
Nice to see you.
Hello,
How are
Basha.
you
Hello,
today?
everyone.
How are you feeling
Fine.
today?
Yeah,
Excellent.
fine. Thank you, Basha. Thank you for inviting me here and hope to have a nice chat with you about communication strategies.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about this chat, to be honest, because it's going to be a communication person to a communication person talk, which I'm very happy about. So I'm sure we're going to have a fantastic conversation. Kasia, since we have just 12 or 15 minutes for this conversation, and I know we could continue forever, let me just dive into the first question. All right?
Yeah, of course.
And in my first question, I would really like to kind of grasp the macro picture and the context for communication. I know that both of us have a very similar philosophy to internal comms, and we both see it not only as a function, but also as a responsibility. So, in other words, we both agree that each of us are our own communication department, meaning that we take responsibility for comms. And there's a reality behind it, right? So as a communication department, you are entering a very specific environment. So how would you describe the specifics of this environment? What are we entering into?
Yeah. Well, I would say the first thought is that it's a jungle. And I will explain why. Let me say two short stories. Do you all know that after a night shift, an engineer in the factory received about 70 to 80 messages or emails on the whole night, and he needs to deal it with in the morning. So he has about 2 hours or three to manage all those information, to take and pick the most important ones and start coordinating the work of others. The other specialist in different kind of company, IT team leader, gets about 30 to 40 emails and communications per day. And with it's another caliber of communication. And for example, HR team leader gets about 20 to 30 different kind of questions and communications, and it's not only that they get those messages every day, because after each of the message, each of email, there is questions, problems, from invitations from other people in the organization. So those three examples can show us how overloaded we are on our everyday basis in our companies, overloaded by information, overloaded with emails, overloaded with communications. So that's why I said and start with the jungle, with the jungle parallel, because we need to remember that per day we kind of have one chance to convey the crucial information that carries kind of a unique value for our recipient.
Yeah.
So it's very highly competitive market of messages that we are living in,
Yes.
actually. So it's not an easy job.
No, I totally agree, and I know that, we share the communication reality. So I feel that we're in the jungle every day, but not only just the two of us. And I love this analogy, but I'm also thinking, since it's a wild environment, are we looking into wild solutions to the challenge? But we will come to it in just a second. Overload, fatigue, high demands that we experience every day, that come also with a certain expectation to react to the communication. We as comms people or our colleagues, we are not just sending for the sake of sending. The aim is to bring people to the table, meaning reacting, which is quite challenging considering this competitiveness that you mentioned. Still on the environment, Kasia, and I also know, we talked about it, and I loved this conversation about just maybe more broadly about effective communication environment. Because how can we even talk about effective, inclusive communication without having an effective communication in the organization, right? And I'd like to just touch quickly on that. And my question specifically will be around making this transition between our big love to emails. You actually made me check my phone, but I'm going to do it in a second and see how overloaded I am after 1 hour with my emails. But how to move from this fascination or love for emails to encouraging other means of communication. We're thinking expanding potential for expanding potential for inclusiveness or inclusive communication. So how to do this shift effectively and not to rely purely on email that they do not really work as probably we assume.
Yeah, I agree. However, well, we all can agree that we need them, of course, and they will stay with us, of course. But the question is about the shift, as you mentioned, to change it, how to start. I think the kind of social change in our communicational environment, in our internal organization environment, and the task is to make people more engaged. We all somehow deal with the level of engagement right now in our companies on the globally level. So we all can see the results of many reports and service in that field. So going back to the topic and going back to your question, that shift need a new solution that have the potential of engage people on the better, more deeply on the better level. So
Deeper
I would say
level.
that we need to create a space where people can discuss, where people can participate in real, authentic discussion about DNI. So DNI, it's not about sending emails. DNI is about being with other people. DNI is about exploring with the curiosity of our differences, of our different talents, different perspectives. So we need to create place and time for that. I know
Yes.
it's not easy in our overload world and in our overloaded situation. The second thing I would say with the engagement potential solution is that we need to shift from the written communication through more video or visual prepared one. So, for example, what we do sometimes in Hub with our partners is that we prepare video messages from leaders or testimonials from employees. So all the storytelling solutions that create communication more visible, more human,
More
more
personalized.
engagable. Yeah, exactly. And the third thing I would say that we need to put more fun into our communication, put more engagement solution, for example, test or quiz, even on our mobile phone with the DNI areas. So it makes people more enjoyable at work, and it makes diversity, equity, and inclusion more enjoyable topic, more human with a more human touch.
Absolutely. And I think what you're describing is pretty much a strategy of marketing a new product. So imagine that you're launching a new product on the market. You need to create a buzz around it. You're thinking, how can I communicate my product? How can I kind of expand on my communication channels to reach a broader audience, and how to come to the point that you actually can see a reaction, meaning seeing and purchasing. And in the communication sense, that would be actually recognizing an interesting comms and acting on it. And I love this concept of thinking about internal comms as a product in a highly competitive market.
But there's also, last but not least, a very important, issue in all that communication process. There are leaders, and I know that we have many leaders listening to this conference right now. So you are really very important part of this communication. So by giving example, by attending in DNI actions, in DNI projects, by actively participation in this, you give you set an extremely important example for the entire organization. So we want communication without leaders is not enough. In our DNI world, we really need engage the leaders who understand why it's so important and why it touches all our human needs on the every level in the organization.
It's almost, please agree or disagree with me, but it's almost like looking or thinking about leader as a communication tool, in fact. So
Exactly.
that means huge empowerment or huge power of leadership if we consider ourselves as a communication tool.
Fully agree.
We are, absolutely. Kasia, as we're talking about empowerment and accountability and such a big impact that the leaders can make, everyone, in fact, can make towards making environment with effective communication. How to encourage people to be communication contributors, not just consumers, contributors, right? When we say inclusive comms, we mean engaging comms, in fact, engaging across layers, engaging across groups and across needs. So how to put that courage in people and being mindful versus fearful, okay? Obviously, communication is a risk. You and I know. You're taking a risk.
Yeah.
The minute you send an email or using any other channel, how stop being fearful, yet being mindful and contribute? Give me 3 tips.
Yeah, 3 tips. Okay, so I would say on the global level, at the first thing we need to remember that we need to somehow prepare our communication to our needs on the organizational level. It means that we don't need to think or see the global level of organization, but really need to go deeper down to the local level to understand the needs, to understand what's going on under the surface, with DNI or even organizational culture. So that's one thing to search, to understand, to listen to the people, and to seek for authentic stories, to seek for the insights in the organization. So that's why we often do some kind of conducting the DNI overviews, surveys, interviews, or focus groups with people to really gain some insight from people to be prepared for a very good communication.
So basically, know your
And the
audience, know your people, and that should
Exactly.
eliminate the fear or the risk of miscommunication if you really know whom you're talking to, whom you're communicating with. Okay, beautiful. I like it. Number two, and we have 2
Number
minutes.
2. Wow, only 2 minutes.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. This is the communication risk. We can just keep talking, but yes, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. So second is, well, we all feel anxiety, fear of being to communicate on the inclusive way. It's a new thing for us. We are in the middle of the social change right now in Poland, but I'm sure it's all over the globe. So feel the fear, feel the anxiety, and do the communication. Make mistakes, try new things, talk to people. So I would say that we need to disarm the tension of being not enough inclusive leader, not enough inclusive communicator, not enough inclusive person in the organization. So feel the fear and do.
And do it anyway.
Do the mistakes. And Brené Brown said one day that, you can dare to lead. So I would say make mistakes, fear, and dare to communicate inclusively. So that's the huge number two. And number three, I would say make fun of it. Find kind of enjoyable, part of it. Try to find joy in that perspective, you will, gain all the success in the communication.
Yeah, so it's almost like changing your mindset about communication and how you perceive communication, and encouraging people to, I mean, all of us to move from being a perfectionist to just simply being present, communication present. Would that be
Yeah.
a good advice
And authentic.
and authentic? So, would you be happy
Yeah.
if we just kind of finished on this positive note and encourage our audience not to be communication perfect, but communication present?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the great solution for the ending of our very short communication.
Very short. Kasia, I'm already hungry for more, and I know that we will continue. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for tuning in. I hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for the piece of advice that you shared with our audience. So take care and see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.